So it looked like Paige Beckers is finally getting a little reality check once again from the media because, ESPN just told it like it was. The best point guard under 25 is our girl, Caitlin Clark.
So ESPN today ranked the top 10 players under 25 based on ceiling. This isn't based on how good they are right now.
Well, ESPN just set social media on fire. Caitlin Clark has officially been named the *** best WNBA player under 25 ***. Not just the most popular, not just the biggest name, the best. And let's just say, the haters are melting down. The reaction online is pure chaos, with some fans celebrating and others acting like the sky just fell.
So ESPN just dropped a list of their 25 best WNBA players under the age of 25, and off a quick scan, it looks like they might have...
Some fans are fuming, and a few player stands are downright raging. But the numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark is sitting at the top. Do you think she deserves that number one spot, or would you hand it to someone else under 25? Let's start with the headline. Caitlin Clark, just in her second year, already ranked as the best WNBA player under 25. Let that sink in. We're talking about a list stacked with names like Paige Bueckers, Aaliyah Boston, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, and plenty of others who've been hyped nonstop. And yet, when ESPN made the call, Clark landed at number one. That's not about hype, it's about production, impact, and undeniable star power all rolled into one.
We got it right. They got it right, y'all. It's about time. Coming in at number one, numero uno, the head honcho, the GOAT, Caitlin Clark.
Of course, the haters are losing it. Some say she hasn't played enough games. Others claim the league is overrating her, or that it's all just marketing. Funny how none of those excuses explain why she's leading the league in attention, ticket sales, and TV ratings, while still putting up strong numbers on the floor. You can't just pin that on ESPN chasing clicks. The reality is simple. Caitlin Clark delivers results.
Clark. Due to injuries, Caitlin Clark has been limited to 13 games this season, averaging 17 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. But when healthy, Clark's impact is enormous. She stretches the floor with her shooting range, pushes the pace, picks apart defenses with her passing. The 23-year-old brings an unmatched excitement factory every time she's on the court, and her confidence spreads to the whole team. She's the biggest draw on the road of any WNBA player, so her effect on the entire league is huge. She is the league. She's not a needle mover. She is the needle.
Caitlin Clark's averages, even while battling injury, are eye-popping 16 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds per game in limited minutes. That's not just solid production, that's elite creation. 8 assists in a league where plenty of guards struggle to reach 3 shows she's a true floor general. And when you add her deep shooting range that stretches defenses out to the parking lot, she completely changes the geometry of the game. When Clark is on the floor, defenses panic. And that's not a stat, that's an effect. Compare that to Paige Bueckers, who ranks second. Paige is no doubt talented, efficient, and has even had a 40-point night. But she's missed time, her numbers aren't as explosive, and her impact doesn't ripple across the entire league the way Clark's does. Paige has fans, but Clark moves markets, and that's the real difference.
Caitlin Clark's pick and roll mate coming in at number 3, the 6'5" center. Aaliyah Boston, I would take her over Angel Reese. I just think she's more talented and more skilled. Angel Reese does have a higher motor, but we talk about the size, the skill, the ability to pass the ball, pass out of double teams, play out of the short pick and roll, shoot the 3, shoot the mid-range, score with the left hand, right hand around the basket. I mean, Aaliyah Boston's a monster.
Then you've got Aaliyah Boston at number 3. She's phenomenal when she's aggressive, and Fever fans know she anchors the paint. But her presence still doesn't tilt defenses the way Clark's does. Boston is elite in her lane, no question, but her dominance relies on guards feeding her the ball, while Clark not only creates for herself but also elevates everyone around her. That's the difference, and that's exactly why ESPN put Clark on top.
Icing on the cake, she's the whole cake. Caitlin Clark coming in at number 1 as the GOAT should. We're talking about 60 some odd records broken as a rookie, first team all WNBA. top 4 in MVP voting. Probably would have won MVP this year if she wouldn't have got hurt, but we'll win it next year. Don't worry about it. Caitlin Clark, number 1, well deserved. I don't believe it's close. I don't believe there's anywhere. It should be Caitlin Clark like 1 through 5, and then we get to the next player. That's how I feel about it.
And here's the hilarious part. ESPN straight up admitted in their write-up that Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA is unmatched. They said she's the biggest road draw of any player ever. And that's not me hyping her. That's the league acknowledging reality. Wherever she goes, attendance spikes, opposing teams run promos around her games, and that kind of pull isn't normal for a second-year pro. That's generational impact. But of course, the salt levels are sky high. Scroll through social media and you'll see Paige fans crying about bias, Angel Reese fans pointing at double-doubles, and random accounts swearing Aaliyah Boston deserves it because she's more polished. Meanwhile, ESPN's article spells it out. Clark stretches defenses with her range, dictates tempo, and delivers highlight passes that electrify her team. That's best under 25 in plain language. Now, when it comes to Paige Bueckers, expectations might have been the very thing that killed her case coming into the league. GMs were already telling ESPN Paige Bueckers was a Hall of Famer from day one. That's the kind of pressure she walked in with. But then Clark showed up a year earlier, shattered records, dragged Indiana to the playoffs, and turned every game into national headlines. Suddenly, Paige's solid rookie numbers didn't look groundbreaking. They looked ordinary next to Clark's explosion. That's not on Paige. It's just the brutal reality of timing. Even ESPN admitted it. Paige is great, but Clark's rookie year reset the bar so high it made Paige's own start feel smaller. That's crazy because usually rookies get measured against veterans. Now rookies are getting measured against Caitlin Clark. That's dominance. And when you look at Angel Reese landing at number 5, that feels about right. She's productive, gritty, a rebounding machine, and she's carved out her lane. But she's not bending defenses or forcing teams to game plan from 30 feet out the way Clark does. And that's the separation. With Clark, dominance isn't optional, it's mandatory. Angel Reese is valuable, but Clark is unguardable. Cameron Brink's low ranking comes down to injury. Healthy, she's probably top 5, but the league doesn't hand out what-if points. You've got to prove it on the court. Same goes for Camila Cardoso. Flashes of talent, but not enough consistency to demand a higher spot. Clark, on the other hand, has been consistent from day one, and that's what drives people crazy. She didn't need years to develop. She walked into the league and instantly shifted its economy. Ratings jumped, ticket sales broke records. ESPN moved games to prime time. And now, just a year later, she's ranked above every under-25 star. That's not favoritism, that's math. If anyone has a case, it's Boston's fans. They'll argue Indiana doesn't function without her, and it's true, Boston is essential. But here's the difference. Boston needs Clark just as much as Clark needs Boston. And when you separate them, Clark's skill set is more unique. Good bigs exist, but there isn't another guard in the league with Clark's shooting range and passing vision. That's why she edges Boston. And let's not forget, Clark's only in year 2. She's not even peaking yet. This is just the beginning, but if she's already number 1 now, where is she going to be in 3 years? In 5? That's the scary part for everyone else on the list, because while they are hoping she plateaus, all the evidence points to her still climbing. And honestly, the funniest part of this whole ESPN ranking isn't even Clark being first, it's the meltdown that followed. You'd think naming Caitlin Clark the best WNBA player under 25 was some kind of crime the way fans of Paige Bueckers, Aaliyah Boston, and Angel Reese reacted online, like ESPN had just rigged the draft lottery. But here's the truth. Clark didn't land this ranking because of hype. She earned it with undeniable numbers and unmatched impact. So let's break it down, starting with her scoring ability, because Caitlin Clark doesn't just shoot threes, she shoots threes from ranges that completely break defensive schemes. Most guards step a foot behind the arc and call it deep. Clark pulls up from the logo like it's routine, and that forces defenses to stretch way out of their comfort zone. Suddenly, driving lanes open, passing windows appear, and her teammates thrive. That's not just shooting, that's bending the geometry of the entire game. And then there's her passing vision. ESPN highlighted her 8 assists per game, which is absurd for a second-year pro, especially when every possession defenders are swarming her. Yet she still zips cross-court passes, hits rollers in stride, and finds corner shooters like a seasoned vet. Scoring is one thing. Creating for others at that level is another. Clark does both at an elite rate, and that's why she's number one. Even rebounding, 5 per game from the guard spot. On paper, that may not sound wild, but the context matters. She's tracking long rebounds, igniting fast breaks herself, and controlling tempo. That's 3 phases of the game: scoring, passing, rebounding, where she's already elite. And then you layer on the intangibles that she's the most confident player on the court every single night. And that swagger isn't just for show, it spreads. Her teammates play harder, the crowd gets louder, and even opponents start to crack under the pressure. That kind of presence doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but it changes games. Meanwhile, Paige Bucher's fans love to point at her efficiency. Sure, Paige has the mid-range game mastered and she's smooth and polished, but efficiency in the mid-range doesn't shake the foundation of the sport. It's valuable, but it's not revolutionary. Clark's game is designed to break defensive systems, not just work within them, and that's why the gap between her and Paige isn't even close. Paige is excellent. Clark is transformational. As for Boston, her fans have a real argument. She's a beast when aggressive, already an all-star, and has MVP potential down the line. But here's the difference: that Boston's dominance depends on her guards. She needs touches in the paint and someone to feed her the ball. Clark is the one doing the feeding. She doesn't need anyone to spoon-feed her points, and that puts her on another level. If you swapped Boston onto a team with weak guard play, her numbers take a hit. If you swap Clark anywhere, her production holds because she controls the ball and dictates the flow. Angel Reese fans love to throw out her double-double averages. Yes, she's a rebounding machine, high energy, relentless motor, all facts. But if you ask a coach who they'd rather game plan against, the answer is obvious. You can scheme for a rebounder. You can't scheme for someone who can casually pull up from 30 feet and drop 12 assists in the same game. Reese is tough. Clark is uncontainable. And then there's Dominique Malona, who ESPN pointed out is setting production records as a teenager. That's impressive. And she's clearly a rising star, but even with all that potential, she's not shifting the entire league the way Clark is right now. She's got a bright future, no doubt, but future potential isn't the same as present dominance, and Clark is doing it right now. That's why she's number one. These rankings aren't about what might happen in 5 years, they're about who's defining the league today. And today, Caitlin Clark stands at the top of every under-25 star in the WNBA. What really makes the haters boil is her off-court impact, which ESPN flat-out emphasized. Clark isn't just the biggest young draw, she's the biggest road draw in league history, period. Entire arenas sell out just because she's in town. Resale ticket prices triple whenever her games appear on the schedule. Merchandise flies, TV ratings spike, and the receipts don't lie. Those things matter just as much as stats when you're naming the best, because the best isn't only about points and rebounds, it's about who moves the sport forward. Some fans dismiss that as marketing. Wrong. That asterisk is asterisk basketball. Professional sports don't run on stats alone. They run on both production and draw, and Caitlin Clark is the rare player who delivers at the highest level in both, making her not just a scorer or passer, but a walking highlight reel who also drives ticket sales, TV ratings, and league visibility, which is why ESPN had no choice but to rank her number one. Boston at 3 feels slightly low since she's arguably more impactful than Paige Bucher's given her importance to Indiana's paint defense and overall structure, but ESPN leaned into Paige's scoring efficiency, and while that's understandable, Boston still has time to rise, especially since Clark and Boston together are the Fever's foundation, with Clark stretching defenses and Boston anchoring the paint. And while players like Sonia Citron, Cameron Brink, and Camila Cardoso sit lower in the rankings because they've shown flashes without consistency or durability, the reality is this list isn't about potential ceilings but sustained impact. And right now Clark is setting the bar everyone else is forced to chase, that they've shown flashes, but not the kind of takeover ability Clark has. And that's the difference. She isn't a flash, she's a nightly event. The type of player who even on an off night still racks up a near double-double and delivers 2 or 3 highlights that go viral. And that level of consistency is what separates her. Add to that the fact she's only 23 and not even close to her prime. And you start to see why this ranking stings her critics, because if she's already the best under 25, what happens when she's 27 or 29, when she could realistically be the face of the WNBA for the next decade? And while haters scream it's too soon, the receipts prove otherwise. She led Indiana to the playoffs as a rookie, shattered records, broke attendance marks, and forced national broadcasts into prime time, all in year one. So ESPN naming her number one isn't hype, it's confirmation of what's been obvious since Iowa. Caitlin Clark is built different. Now in year two, Caitlin Clark is still producing at an elite level even while battling through injuries, and that alone kills the too soon argument. This is exactly the right time, and ESPN admitted it themselves, pointing out that she brings an unmatched excitement factor every single night she steps on the court. Plenty of players can be good without being exciting, efficient without being must-watch, but Clark is both. Efficient enough to win games and electric enough to matter, which is rare and exactly why she's at the top of the list, while names like Paige, Boston, and Angel are left fighting for spots as their fans argue online. Because the simple truth is Clark has blown past expectations faster and harder than anyone else, and that's why she's number one. The list isn't about feelings, it's about facts, and the fact is Caitlin Clark, just 2 years into her WNBA career, is already the best under 25. So, ESPN made it official, and now the haters are fuming, the stands are arguing, but the numbers and the impact don't lie, because Clark doesn't just play the game, she changes it on and off the court, and this ranking proves it. Do you agree with her at number one?